So I tried growing food indoors, and let me tell you, this whole experiment did not go as planned at all. I honestly thought the hardest part for me would be the lighting and maybe keeping up with the watering, but gosh, I was so wrong. Yes, there were some challenges from my house itself, but one of my challenges literally walked through my front door, but more about that later. So I'm going to take you through everything that happened over the last 12 weeks. I had 3 plants, I had 4 methods tested, and I had 12 weeks of surprises. Come with me, here's what I learned. Have you ever tried growing your own food? I have, but not with as much success as I had originally hoped. Honestly, after caterpillars kept destroying all of my outdoor plants, I wanted to try growing them indoors. But I'm also realizing that there's limited light and limited space, and that then creates its own challenge. And so I need to find methods that actually work in my or our real home conditions. So look, I do have outdoor space, but every time I try growing food, I get caterpillars eating up the leaves. I see snails everywhere. I bought this one basil plant for this video and I left it outside for less than a day. And you can see all of the holes in all of the leaves, just ridiculous. So today I'm going to be setting up 4 different methods to see what actually will work. So I'm going to go from a very budget setup all the way to trying my very first ever hydroponic experiment, but it's going to be the same plants in each setup. So for this experiment, I'm growing 3 simple things to start with. So the first one is going to be basil, because I love pesto. I really want to try making my own pesto with pine nuts. So basil I'm definitely going to try. I'm also going to try lettuce, because who doesn't love a good salad? Now, I did originally get this one, but realized this is a little different in size to each one of these baby plants. So I changed halfway through and I'm going to be growing these. This is cos lettuce, and I love cos lettuce. I love a good Caesar salad. I love a good Cobb salad. And then the third one I'm going to do is coriander, because well, I love the taste. I know it's a love or hate taste for many people, but honestly, I'm kind of mildly obsessed with coriander. And I also know it's a little bit dramatic to grow, and I want to see which one of these 4 methods can handle the attitude of this baby coriander. Now, I know some of you might be expecting tomatoes or cucumbers, but I'm starting with herbs and leafy greens for a reason, because honestly, if I can't keep these little babies happy indoors with limited light and limited space, I definitely shouldn't be trying like bigger vegetables and 2-meter tall tomatoes indoors just yet. So right now, I just want to prove to myself that I can actually give my plants what they need before I invest in anything more ambitious. Okay, so that's the plants I'm going to grow. What about the different 4 methods? Well, the first one is, it's just going to go the classic route. I'm going to go with a very basic plastic pot. Nothing fancy. They look decent enough for my kitchen counter, and they definitely don't break the bank. Now, before moving on to the other methods, I just want to also state that when it comes to the potting mix, I want to give the soil method that I'm doing a real proper chance against my more fancy-ish kind of full hydroponic system. So I'm mixing a specific vegetable potting mix in here. I get it from Bunnings and it's very, very cheap, to be honest. It's called 𝐿𝐲𝐬𝐿 tomato and vegetable potting mix. I'm also mixing in some worm castings as fertilizer, because it provides gentle, sustained nutrition. And then also I have added something called blood and bone. It contains a lot of nitrogen and phosphorus. So while the worm casting in my potting mix is for longer term sustainability, the nitrogen and phosphorus should help these plants get a quick release and get those plants growing fast. Okay, so method number 2 is the cheapest one I can think of. That is, I'm going to use or recycle these milk bottles. I'm going to cut them up and use these milk bottles as containers. So this is like the ultimate $0 option for containers, right? I saw this idea on Pinterest where you leave the handle and you just cut around to give it opening and it holds the water in. But I wanted to include this, A, because I'm really interested to see if it works, but B, also, I just want to include this for anyone who wants to try indoor gardening without spending a cent on containers. Okay, move things out of the way. So the next one is method 3, and it's going to be moving up a little bit of a level, and it is a indoor growing kit. It was about 40 Australian dollars, so that's probably what, 20, 25 US dollars equivalent. It is this thing. That's actually bigger than I thought it was. So it has a base, you can see there. You can see the little, sorry about the reflection, you can see the little watering area there, so I can just put water in the base. and then it has this dome lid and it has air holes if I need it to, so I can control the humidity is what I'm trying to say. And it's a pretty big dome. I compare everything to the size of my head. If you don't know that yet, I don't know why. It's a bit of fun. Okay, method number 4, and I'm really excited about this one because it is this. This is the LetPot Smart Hydroponics growing system. This is a very different system to the other 3, I get that. And this is also, as I said before, my very first attempt at full hydroponics. Now, full transparency, this product, this one thing here, was sent to me as part of one of my very first brand partnerships for Leafy Lovin. Thank you, thank you. I'm very happy about that. Now, it's not technically a paid video. It is a free product, but I do want to be very honest about that because it also means I can be honest with you about telling you whether I really love this thing or don't like it. I'm going to be very honest with how it works, because it's not the cheapest out of all of these, and it is very fancy. And I have already taken it out of the pot. I couldn't wait. Out of the box, I should say. Out of the pot. How gardening am I? Out of the pot. And it looks like this. Ta-da! Now, obviously, it's not plugged in, but it is an automated system, a smart system, as I said before. So it's got automated watering. It's got beautiful LED grow lights, and it also has an app. So it's really, really exciting. It feels like almost like the Tesla of indoor growing. If you like Tesla anyway. So I'm excited about that. But the thing I am most excited with in this system, there's 2 things actually, is one is the lighting itself. Now, I've turned this on and it is super strong lighting. It's great for growing food because when a plant tries to produce flowers or food, then it takes a lot of energy from the plant to make this fruit or the flowers. It needs a lot of good, strong growing light. But also the hydroponics means that there's a water reservoir, hard to say, and that's going to get constant air through the filter, through the bubbles pretty much. And getting fresh oxygen to your plant roots, to any plant roots, is the bee's knees for superb growth. So very excited to see how this one goes against all of the 4 different systems, something very different for me. Now, before we go on, the one thing about hydroponic systems, they are designed for seeds, not seedling plants. But I'm going to be testing both approaches in this thing. So I'm going to choose 1 or 2 different plants from each of the pots that I have for the food, and I will put it in as an experiment. But I've also bought seeds as well. So I'm also going to start some direct from seeds as a comparison, because that's what this system is meant for. And maybe it might overtake and overgrow all of the other systems. We will see. So let's see which method comes out on top across all of the different categories. But you will, of course, have to keep watching right to the end to see those scores, to see all of the results, and to see which ones I recommend the most. Wish me luck. So exciting. Houston, we have a problem. So yeah, it's been 7 days now, and this is what we have after only a week of this experiment with this humidity box. So a couple of things have gone wrong with it. Obviously the plants aren't doing well. It has a real musky smell, which is a really damp smell, so that's not good. And when I first put the humidity dome on, in the first, I think maybe even 4 or 5 hours, it filled up with this humidity. This whole thing was covered in humidity. I did have these airflow handles closed right at the beginning, but the next morning when I woke up and I saw all the humidity, I opened them to full, but it didn't really help that much. The other thing though is I haven't had the brightest light, so I'm not sure if it's got too much humidity, not enough light, or if I'm honest, probably a little bit of both in those first couple of days. So I'm going to try again. This time, instead of just potting one of each plant, I've gone and I bought some more. I'm going to put 2 of each. Stuff the spacing of what it's meant to be. I think the 𝐿𝐸 lettuce is meant to be like 20 centimeters apart. We'll see what happens. I just want these seedlings to start off okay, and then maybe we can, you know, in 5 or 6 weeks, depending on how big or small they are, if they have succeeded, then we can maybe pot up again to their separate pots. We'll see. We are only a week in. We've still got another, what, 7 to 8, 9 weeks still to go of this experiment. I'll see how long we need. But I'm going to see if it really was the product that was the problem or if it was me. But this is the bad news. I do have some good news though, so come with me, come with me. So come, look, have a look at this, have a look at this. Look, this is the LetPot. This is the expensive thing. And have a look at this, ready? We have liftoff. So I can now, this was the 𝐿𝐸 lettuce on the seedlings. They're growing really strongly. Even the coriander itself is doing okay in the seedling cutting, but the actual seeds themselves are starting to sprout. So this is, even though it's starting from scratch, it's already doing very well and it's working like it should. It did say germination between 5 to 10 days, depending on the plant. So we've got some really good stuff happening. So I'm really excited about this one, but I thought I'd show you what's happening as of day 7. Okay, we're halfway and I need to give you a really big update today because pretty much nothing is going to plan. As you can see, nothing is happening. So 3 out of the 4 methods are not doing well at all. The 4th method I will show you a little bit later, so watch out for that one. But for now, if you've seen some of my videos before, you know that a lot of us out there have lower light homes. Mine is definitely one of them. So I need a lot of grow lights. I do have a lot of grow lights strategically placed around the place, as you can see in the background. So lighting was always going to be an issue for growing food. I also got spider mites from one of the plants. It actually grew, but it's got spider mites. So I've had to get rid of the whole thing. And then this one out here with the tub, honestly, it didn't work from like week 2 onwards. And what I found, a whole lot of fungus gnats. So I've had to do something about that. So this has been sitting outside for a good week to dry out all the soil and just get rid of all those gnats. The other one I've tried recently is last week I bought some coriander because I wanted to prove to myself that the lighting was indeed the issue. And those of you who have already sneakily seen it, it is right there, right? It's beautiful and green. It stayed luscious. It's grown a little bit. So that has proved to me, because it's right up against my mother grow light, that it's a lighting issue. So I have to pivot. It is pivot day. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put these 3 things in completely different parts in my house. So the plastic pots will go on my west-facing windowsill. The milk bottles I have, it's not going to stay where it is. It's still going to stay against that same window, but I'm going to put it up the top of the window as much as possible. And then this one here is going to go under a bulb that I bought recently from my local hardware store. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add vermiculite. So I need something that's going to hold a lot of water but still give it the aeration, and vermiculite is great for seedlings. So as this is a project, as this is an experiment, the first half hasn't gone to plan so much, but it is time to pivot. That's what you do in experiments. So second half of this experiment, we're going to go forward with a slightly different plan. So I did say though, that one has done pretty well. And I have to say, that is probably the biggest understatement in the world. Hello. Oh my gosh. This thing has just been, like, from day one, has just been giving me absolute growth. And look at how the size of these basil is. Like, it's the size, if you flatten that out, it's the size of my hand. Look at them. But this basil plant that you see right here at the front is actually not the seed that they recommended. The seed is the 2 on the side. This is the actual plantlet that I bought from the beginning. So the plantlets have worked and the seedlings have worked. It's now just gone, like, it's like it's on steroids. And the smell is just mind-boggling. But basil is not the only one succeeding here. All 3 are. So let me see if I can turn this around. Look at it. Look at it. Oh my gosh. So this is the coriander, this is the 𝐿𝐸 leaves, and compared to the other one that you saw, like, it's all bunched in the middle, which is really lovely. And I am going to take them out. I'm only going to have 1 basil plant left in this container. Can you see them? Look. Can you see them under my hand? Look at that. Oops, dripping all over my desk. That is why these plants are doing so well. The roots are ginormous. I'm going to put it back. So you can already see that this is probably the best out of the four. It is doing exactly what it's meant to do though. It is the most expensive out of the lot, but all the features just make this the easiest out of the lot. My honest assessment of this thing, while at the beginning I was a bit skeptical, I absolutely love it. So if you want to give it a go, if you know now that you already love this thing through half the video, because I do, I have to say, then I'll leave the discount code on the screen there for you. But we're going to get another 5 weeks out of this. I really want to see how this goes. Yeah, I'm really happy how this is turning out so far. I cannot wait to see how ridiculous this gets in 5 more weeks. Okay, so welcome back. It's been almost 12 weeks. This experiment was meant to be 10 weeks, but I have had everything that could happen, so I left it a little bit longer. You'll see what I mean. But before we get into it, I just want to tell you a couple of things that happened in the last 3 or so weeks. So, right at the beginning, I said that one of my problems walked straight through the front door. And I have to show you this because I've recorded a tiny bit because I couldn't believe it was happening. I was on my own in my house. I was on my computer in the corner, and where I'm sitting right now is like kitchen, lounge, dining room area, all in one big space. So I was sitting at my desk and I heard this tap, tap, tap. And I looked up and I walked over around to my kitchen, and all of a sudden, if you live in Australia, you'll know what I'm talking about. There was a bush turkey in my house. Bush turkeys here in Sydney are native wildlife. They never come into the house. And all of a sudden, I saw the turkey, he saw me, he freaked out, started flying everywhere, flew into my kitchen window, and this turkey was going everywhere. He was so scared of me, more than I was of him, I know. And he was trying to fly out a window, which he doesn't know what it is, obviously. And he stomped all over my plants, all over the kitchen. He pooped on the kitchen sink. It was an absolute nightmare. And in the stomping, he stomped on one of these beautiful lettuce setups that I had grown. It was a single lettuce that I had started right at the beginning. It was a little bit leggy, but it was probably the best thing that was growing for me at the time out of all of my random stuff. And I had a bush turkey in my house. I could not believe it. Out of all of the things that could happen to me in this experiment, I had a random native big turkey bird come into my house on my own. I'm so glad I got some kind of video. I should have got more, but it just wasn't in my mind. But I showed my partner, I showed my mum, I showed my friends, I showed everybody. Literally, I had pieces of lettuce all over my kitchen and dirt and turkey poop. So that was interesting. Second thing that happened is, literally the last time, I just tried it one more time with the lid on, and honestly, even I think it was like 48 or less than 48 hours later, I got humidity in the dome once again. So I ended up taking this thing off. I haven't used it since I last saw you weeks ago. So with this dome little greenhouse, mini greenhouse thing, I actually got spider mites on the basil. The whole plant, I saw it. I don't know where they came from, but the spider mites, I just literally had to cut the whole bottom off. So that hasn't helped. Poor basil plant, but honestly, I have so much basil, and I do have some tomato plants growing outside, and I have basil in there. So I've got enough basil. That's fine. That's okay. But when I used my soil, I got spider mites, I got leggy growth, and oh my gosh, the fungus gnats. I don't normally get fungus gnats because I'm an underwaterer normally. And I also have a very aerated mix with pumice and orchid bark and all sorts. And I have not had a fungus gnat problem in ages until I started trying to grow food indoors. I'm going to show you this. This is from the dome. Look at that. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And that's not even half of them. I literally started to get like just fly spray and spray it around because I was so frustrated with all of the fungus gnats. So that was not a positive for any of the soil trials. So, oh my gosh, if you have fungus gnat problems, I know how you feel. Gosh, they are one of the most annoying things. And then finally, one thing I did learn is you'll see a lot of video on my screen from the 3 tries that I had with coriander. Each time I was trying to get the little plantlets separate. And one time, I ended up buying another punnet. So that was my 4th punnet. I had this theory in my head that maybe I was just ruining the roots. I was just getting rid of the soil. It takes ages to untangle all the roots. It's really thin, delicate roots on coriander. So in the end, I bought a punnet and I cut it in thirds. I literally got a knife and cut it in thirds. And my coriander is a lot better for it. So I have learned through a lot of trouble and trial and error that coriander has very delicate roots. Right, so after that story, let's get into the final results. Okay, let's start with method number 1, the milk bottle methods. So you can see here, it's not all dead, but it's very close, unfortunately. So the whole reason why I wanted to try this milk bottle thing, I saw it on Instagram, and the reason I bought it is because when you cut it, you can hang it, but I ended up buying a tension rod, and the tension rod was way too thick to fit the window, so I didn't end up doing that. I put it in the closest possible spot next to my window, and it worked okay. There's a little bit of growth coming, new growth coming from the cos lettuce that I put in there. The basil got dried up, and the coriander actually did better than I thought for the last 2 weeks. So there is actually a little bit of new growth at the top there, but it's an Instagram fad. I moved them multiple times. They look terrible. The amount of effort that they went to on Instagram to make these bottles look pretty was over and above, I think, what is worth it. The whole thing, I would never do again. Don't bother. So I am very happy to get rid of these. I must admit. I'm going to take them out, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to eat the coriander and throw the other two out because they're not doing well anyway. So method number 1, milk bottles. Not good. Okay, method number 2. Let's have a look at the small pots. So, also not my best, as you can see here. Firstly, I'm going to show you the basil plant. Again, I don't know, I probably didn't water it enough. There it is, just that little white thing. So there is no basil plant, but I'm not stressing about that, as I said before, because I've got enough basil plants around the house. In a second. The next one here is now you can see it's leggy. So what happened with this one? This is the remnants of, see all of these old ones cut off there? This is the remnants of the turkey bashing. That's where the turkey went down to. The whole thing was cut off. So I ended up moving it upstairs next to a west-facing window. So you can see a lot more growth up the top here. And this is actually another growth that's come off the same plant. But I'm pretty sure that's a flower and that's a flower. So it's already flowering. It's not really lettuce, like there's nothing happening there. And again, the coriander, I didn't try to touch the root. Again, it hasn't really worked out. I just don't think, even though it was directly in a window, because it was west facing, it needs about 6 to 7 hours, and it only got about 4 hours. And again, I've had to put cinnamon on top of the soil to stop the fungus gnats. So that's the other one. Again, I'm going to throw those away. Look, I got a little bit, like it is growing, but it's not edible. I'm not going to eat that. I'm not going to eat this. I don't know, but it does not look like lettuce to me. So again, not the best. I just found that frustrating. So moving on. Okay. Method number 3. So this looks a little bit better on the coriander side, although it was bigger to start with. So it looks better, but don't let that fool you, unfortunately. Didn't need the dome, so it's a bit of a waste of money in my mind. So that's not good. But even with the bigger basket, I had issues. The fungus gnats on this one, because it's really a big pot just full of soil, it just drove me nuts. This is the thing that I could not stand. Every day I was looking at fungus gnats flying around. This, I had to put a grow light like right here to get as close as possible. And I did see a little bit of growth. Again, right in the middle of this coriander, it's just grown a little bit more, and this has stayed steady and a little bit strong. So that's good. This is the basil plant that got spider mites. So he hasn't grown back in the last 2 weeks. And again, got enough basil around. He's going to be thrown out. So you can see this whole thing has not gone to plan, right? And then the lettuce in the middle, the cos lettuce, it did start growing again, but it's flopping over. It's not strong enough. It's not, you know, despite having a grow light maybe 10, 15 centimeters away from the plants, the cos lettuce, I think it just needs a lot more of everything, a lot more water, a lot more lighting, a lot more consistency, and it just hasn't done well. And I think it was a waste of money. I'm so sorry. I wanted to love it because it is the cutest thing ever. So I am still going to use it. I'm not just going to throw out the container. It was $40. It does look nice. I'll just find a way to use it differently. Right, so they're the 3 methods with soil, but of course there is that one final method with the LetPot system that I've mentioned a few times now. Let's have a look at the final results of the LetPot system. Ta-da! This is it. This is the results. The light is not on. Actually, let's just lift that up a bit so you can see a little bit better. Look, it is, what, 3 times the price of the mini greenhouse. But being honest with you, after weeks of struggling with every other method, this is the only one that actually worked for me. And I'm so thankful for it, I can't tell you. I've had this at my desk where you've seen in some of the videos And I've watched it grow almost every day for the last 12 weeks and it hasn't stopped. It's not perfect, I have to say, and I have still learnt a lot. Coriander is still very finicky, but just look at this. This is the one basil plant, or the one plantlet that I started with. It wasn't the seed. I've taken the seeds out already because this is so big. It's so happy it's flowering up the top there. And honestly, I'm glad we're finishing this experiment today because I need to cut it. It is overgrown. The 𝐶𝐞𝐭𝐏𝐸, look at that beautiful, beautiful size. I'm going to be eating that in a salad today and maybe make some pesto today. I'm very happy with that. Now, coriander. As you can see here, it's dried up a little bit, and that is because the 𝐶𝐞𝐭𝐏𝐸 lettuce has grown everywhere, and I've got it in like 3 or 4 different base pots here. It's leant over, and what happened is the little base part on the base where I keep the seedlings, it popped out and it wasn't getting water, so it all dried up completely. So I've left it there for you to see that it hasn't been the best, but the seeds that I started growing have been growing, but they were fighting for light against this and almost this, but all of this lettuce that was coming through. So I think that's my fault, not the system, but coriander is not the easiest to grow. I have definitely learnt that lesson. So it's an all-in-one system. You are almost guaranteed results, and it's set and forget. It is so easy, no fungus, gnats, no pest problems. Honestly, for me, I think the cost is worth it. So, and especially if you can get it on a deal, and especially if you use my link to get extra 10% off. So have a look, I'll put it on the screen here and make sure you do use that link. Okay, so what are the takeaways? Well, here's what 12 weeks of messy multiple failures taught me. Indoor food growing is way harder than I would say social media makes, or at least what I thought it would be. My house is not a greenhouse, obviously, and most homes don't have that 6 hours direct sunlight. If you're lucky enough to have a windowsill that has that, amazing. But that direct sun does make all the difference when it comes to growing food. So I think that makes sense in hindsight, but I wanted to test it, see if I could get some really good grow lights and see if that would work. When it comes to the soil, well, if you've got limited light and you've got a lot of soil and you have to keep it as damp as you need for a lot of different fruit and vegetables, then it just equals fungus gnat hell. I do not recommend that. Lighting is everything when it comes to these guys. I tried multiple windows, I tried multiple different grow lights, and the plants that got the most consistent, the strongest grow lights thrived the most. Everything else struggled or got leggy or just flopped after a couple of days, and I could not bring them back to the way they should be. So watering and lighting really do matter when it comes to growing food. Another learning, coriander roots are very delicate. I've said this a few times now, so don't mess with them too much. Cut them and put them into soil as quick as possible, or put them in, or just start from seed if you're going to do the hydroponic system. But if you are going to try it, just don't mess with the roots. 4 attempts at trying to grow coriander taught me this the hard way, so, learn from me in that mistake. When it comes to the hydroponic system, I did say you can use plantlets in the hydroponic system, but do that at your own risk. I very much doubt it's under warranty if you do that. So, I'm only saying that it works. It's up to you if you want to try it. But if you want to get food really, really fast, make sure you get rid of all of the dirt. Do not put dirt in any kind of system like that. It will not be good. But it worked for me. So again, do that information what you will. And then final lesson, honestly, some things are worth the upfront investment. Don't pay for crap, pay for quality. I want to pay for things that are quality and give me results, and that's what I think this system is. So if you haven't got the funds, don't buy it, but put it on your Christmas wish list. Use my link, get that discount and put it on your Christmas wish list, or if you're watching this sometime a bit later, put it on your birthday wish list or wherever it is. Honestly, I think you'll really like it. And oh my gosh, I am so happy. I've actually found a system that I can grow my own food indoors. I'm very, very happy about that. But as I said, if you have amazing natural light and you don't mind the maintenance and you want to get your hands dirty like most of us plant people do, then the soil methods can work. You just need to know what you're getting into. And please let me know if you have a setup like that. Show me in photos, send me some emails, DM me, whatever it is. I would love to see how you guys are growing your own food indoors and what the setup looks like. Do you have 6 to 8 hours of sun on a windowsill somewhere that you can use? Lucky you if you do. Anyway, that is it for this most amazing, crazy, very honest, very messy experiment. If you want more realistic plant content for real homes, please do subscribe and let me know what you'd like to see next. And finally, I'm now going to sign off, have a week full of leaves, love and laughter. I'm going to go and make a salad and see if I can buy some pine nuts to make some pesto. Oh my gosh, I'm looking forward to making that pesto with so many basil leaves. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.